Hi students, welcome back. So we'll start from where we had left. Okay, let me actually select this particle systems, go back into the particle shape and change the color for this. So I'll just take the red back to 1. Okay, almost about 1 here. Okay, blue just negate it and add some bit of a green. Yes, okay. Color accumulation is already on. This will increase the opacity attribute. Okay, just add a little bit of red, reduce this. Okay, and we'll add more particles. So I have something like this. Okay, go back to the particle shape, just add this a little tag. There it is. Okay, yeah, so kind of we'll see one more attribute here, the attribute which is called as, if I jump into the emitter, there is a cycle emission. So right now the cycle emission is none. Okay, so that means the particles are all emitting as they are one behind the other. Okay, but then if I change this to frame time random on, okay, with the cycle interval 1, and this is cycle emission, remember. So what do you get is you get these streams of particles actually beginning. Okay, now if I increase the cycle to 2, gradually they will start to blend. Okay, so if I increase it more to 4, this will be now very similar to what we had earlier. So let me just go ahead and make it 10. There it is. So this is what we had earlier. So here I will cycle interval of 1, which gives me this stream of lines together. Okay, now all streams of lines, if you see, are just traveling where they are in one specific direction. Now all this is because of turbulence. So let's just explore the parameters of turbulence. Okay, if I take the magnitude to 0, that is get rid of the magnitude, this will be as good as having no turbulence. Okay, that is no turbulence applied. They will just be like this. Okay, there is no force right now. Okay, this just traveling straight in one direction. Okay, but when I apply a turbulence of 5, what is happening is they start getting some direction. Okay, say for example 20. Okay, they start getting some direction. Okay, something like this, and they start moving in one direction. Now why is this happens? Because turbulence in Maya by default, what happens is when the first particles gives birth, what happens, the turbulence get applied to it and it just starts moving in that single direction, and then the turbulence stops. So the turbulence only applies its strength at the frame 1, and then the next particle comes, it applies force to that one, and that moves in a specific direction, then the third one, and that moves in a specific direction. So what happens, it goes on continuing, and that's why there is really no turbulence, but there is just a turbulence which is acting at frame 1. Now I want this to be a little random. I want the turbulence to be applied differently at every frame as the particles emit. So then I will have these really moving. Okay, they are not moving anywhere. They are really not turbulent right now. I don't see them. They are turbulent. Okay, so that's where I get these parameter phase. Okay, in x, y, z direction. So what I will do is very quickly in phase x, I will give it an expression. The expression here will be on the turbulent field. It's phased x direction. Drag and drop it down, and then specify time. Okay, time is what? Time is a function that a software will understand. So value here will always be changing with respect to your playheads playing. So as your playhead moves, the time value will be changing, and so as the phase value. So I will have a continuous value change here, which ultimately will give me a difference in the turbulence in every frame. Okay, so if I now just say, oh, I lost it, I didn't even create it. So what I'll have to do is once again do this. So just close this, go back to the particles parameters in the shape attribute, in the turbulent attribute in the phase X. Okay, so right click on it, create new expression, drag and drop this here and type in is equal to 10. Okay, create it. So there it is. So just take a look what happens here. When I play it, the value is changing, and so as now you will see that there is a turbulent motion in these. Okay, so now it's speaking, it's turbulent. Okay, the earlier one wasn't. Okay, and of course I'll do the same thing in the y direction also. So right click, create expression, as basically the same. If I can choose by expression, which will give me this, and just type in semicolon to end the command. I'll just copy this, Control C, Control V, and this will be for all the directions X, Y, Z. There. So in that way I will get turbulence in all the direction. So it's moving in all the directions now. Nice to look at. Stop it. Okay, so that is something to do with the turbulence. Okay, now turbulence is right now, if I just select the turbulence, click W and move it somewhere else, you can see the turbulence is very less. Okay, because right now it's dependent on distance. Okay, so wherever the source is, the turbulence will be more. You can see when I keep it here, you will see that the turbulence is more over that region wherever the source is. Okay, and the reason behind that is because of the attenuation. Attenuation is playing a major role. Okay, and this will only be identified if I hit T. So T will give you an exact idea about what is happening here. Okay, you can see there is a graph here. So if I reduce this graph, that is basically I'm reducing the I'm increasing the attenuation. What's happening? You can see this. So this is the energy is more over here, and it lessens out as it spreads. So when I play it, you can see the energy is more over that region, and it's gradually decreasing with the distance. Okay, but then if I keep it 1, students, what is going to happen is the turbulence is equal now. It's same all over. Okay, so don't forget, this is a very, very, very important value or very, very important parameter here. I can control where I need the turbulence more. So I hope that clears what is attenuation, okay, what is magnitude, and even the phase. Phase is only for animation. I just need to have a changing value here. You can animate it too, you can keep, or otherwise you can just put a function in so that it goes on changing automatically as I play my timer. Okay, of course I can right click, edit expression, and then if I want to reduce the speed or increase the speed, I can just type in or multiply it by, let's say, a value of 0.2. okay, that will reduce the turbulence, the strength for the it will slow down the turbulence. Control C, Control V, and same thing here, edit. multiplied it with the value above 1, above 2, it will increase. Okay, sorry, forgot the into sign here. Okay, edit. So this will slow down it. Okay, let me take that animation to 1 and then click W and move it to the center and then play it. You can see it's quite slow now. Of course, don't forget the parameter conserve which we have here, which is going to reduce, which is already reduced. Okay, so if I make it 1, then play it, this is much faster. You can see when I increase this to 0.9, it will curb the momentum of the particle and will slow it down quite. Okay, very important parameter to remember. Okay, so now that you have seen the particle, that is create emitter, we have some more different types of particles here. Okay, in the legacy we have emit from an object particle, so we'll see what that is. Okay, so I'll say file, let's open a new scene. Okay, turn on the grid and create a polygonal sphere. Now we have seen particles emitting from an emitter. We'll also see how particles can be emitted from an object. Very important. Select an object, go to n particles, and mind you, I'm just working with a legacy particle right now. We'll come back to n particles in a while. So let's take a look at this one first. Okay, so emit from an object, go to the option box, reset the settings, and instead of omni I'll choose surface. Now there is a difference in between all three of this. So if I choose to select omni and then create, what's going to happen is the particle, each of the vertex will be like an emitter in here. So when I play it, you can see that the particles emitting from each of those vertex. Okay, that is what we really don't want right now. Okay, and of course again the second option here is emit from an object. You also have directional. So if I just say create, again it will be the same thing, the particle emitting from each of the vertex, but this time it will be direction X. Okay, why is that? If you go to the emitter attribute, you will find that the direction is X, so that's why it goes in that direction. Okay, we don't want none of this. Okay, so I want particles emitting uniformly from all around the surface. So for that, the third option, that is surface. Okay, and then just say create. So now the particle will emit from this direction. Okay, so yeah, let's work with this now. So in the particle shape attribute, what I will do is, of course, no, sorry, emitter, increase the number of particles to 5,000. I want quite a number. Okay, I want very less span here, very less lifespan. So particle shape, instead of live forever, I'll make it constant. Okay, I'll change the lifespan to, let's say, 2. In fact, I'll make it random range. I make it to, let's say, 3. Okay, let's see how much. I think that's a little too much. Okay, maybe 2.5. 2 and 2.5. Okay, I'll select the particles in apply turbulence. Select turbulence. Okay. Same, I'll reduce the attenuation so the particle force or the turbulence force is same all around. Okay, so let's play this. There it is. Okay. The speed, I'll need to reduce the speed. The speed is quite high, so go to the emitter, reduce the speed a little so that it doesn't move far away. Okay, I'll also work with the conserve attribute, so go to the particle shape. Where's conserve? Yeah, it's here. So 0.9, let's say 7. It drags it down. Okay, Control A attribute, and I'll be going to the current render type, color accumulation, color, add for object, add, which will give me this. I will also need to add an opacity attribute, so add opacity attribute, reduce the opacity at tag, increase the red color. Okay, I'll switch off the grid. I will need more number of particles, so maybe let's say 10,000. So there it is. I can actually select the sphere, select the sphere and hide it in a layer. So click add selected object and hide it in a layer, so get to something, see something like this. Just work around with the parameter here. Again, remember that we'll need to apply a phase to this. Okay, now remember there's one more attribute which we need to get familiar with, the frequency. Okay, so frequency is 1 right now. Let me take the frequency to 0.2. Okay, from 1 to 0.2. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, so you can see that the waves which are emitting are a little less, so there is the frequency is quite less, and then you have 1, 2 and 3. So I can go on adding the frequency by increasing this value. So if I make it 0.5, I will have more frequency this time, so more kind of these structures here, these flames, or maybe kind of tendrils, you can call it as whatever you can call it as. So maybe 0.8. okay, so you have more there. Okay, I can just work with the conserve again, 0.94 maybe. Okay, to dampen it out a little more. It is, and then I don't want these flames to be in one place. They just are actually just in one place. So what I want is I want them to be actually moving around. Okay, so maybe what I'll do is, just to enhance the effect, I will also add more number here by going into the emitter and adding, making it, let's say 50,000 this time. Okay, there it is. Okay, maybe a little less. 30 will be good enough. And of course go to the particle shape and adjust the its turbulent parameter here, that is the phase. Create new expression, just drag it, is equal to time. Okay, let's make it slow, not capital. Okay, time into 0.2. okay, semicolon to end the command. Control C, create. Okay. So you can see a little tag movement here, okay, which is very less in fact. Okay, let me increase my frame range here, maybe to 500, and drop the particle number because too high. So drop the particle number to, say, around, let's say 15. Come back to the particle shape and then increase this outliner, the turbulence, edit expression, and by the way I will increase it to 0.8 or so. Edit. So a little bit of movement there. Right now I don't see any movement. I want to see the movement. Yes, there it is. So I'll go in. In fact, select the particles, stop it, select the particles, and just adjust these colors. I can reduce the point size if you want. So there it is, student. You can experiment with the particle system here. Okay, now instead of sphere, this could be maybe a face, it can be a character, whatever. So we'll later see an example on that too. Okay, how we can use emit from surface option. Okay, so that's all, students. Take care. Bye.